Hey guys, welcome back to the Pivot Report. Let me ask you something. Why is it that two countries can hold elections, have political parties fighting for power, have disappointed supporters, and still end up with very different outcomes? Ghana had its presidential election in December 2024, and something happened after the election that got my attention. The candidate who lost conceded very quickly. In fact, he conceded before the Electoral Commission had finished announcing all the official results.
The people of Ghana have spoken. People have voted for change at this time, and we respect that decision with all humility.
Now, compare that with Nigeria. After our 2023 election, we saw legal challenges, arguments over results, questions about the voting process, and a lot of distrust around the technology that was supposed to make the election more transparent. So, the question for me is not simply, why is Ghana better than Nigeria? I don't think that is even the right question. The better question is, what is different about the way the two systems work? And more importantly, is there something Nigeria can actually learn from Ghana? Because this is not really a story about Ghana being perfect. It isn't. And it is not a story about Nigeria being hopeless. It isn't that either. This is really a story about how the electoral system works and how that system can influence the behavior of politicians. So, let's break it down. Let's start with Ghana. In December 2024, John Mahama won the presidential election with little over 56% of the vote. Mahamudu Bawumia, the candidate of the ruling party, got just over 41%. And here's the interesting part. Bawumia conceded very quickly. Now, you might look at that and say, well, maybe he was simply being a good loser. And yes, that could be part of it. But I think we should look deeper. Because politicians don't usually give up power simply because they suddenly become generous. There are usually other things at work, and this is where Ghana's electoral system becomes interesting. Before we even talk about the concession, let's talk about the Electoral Commission. Because when an election happens, somebody has to count the votes, somebody has to announce the results, and both sides have to believe that the process has some level of credibility. Ghana's Electoral Commission has had its own controversies. It has critics. It has faced political pressure. So again, Ghana is not some perfect democracy where everybody agrees with the Electoral Commission. That is not what I'm saying. The important thing is this: both sides still have an institution they can argue with. That is very different from having an institution that one side has already decided is completely against them. And that difference matters, because if I believe the referee is unfair before the match even starts, then whatever result comes out of that match is going to be difficult for me to accept. That is one of the biggest issues in any election. But Ghana did something else before the election. The major presidential candidates signed a peace pact. The idea was simple. If there was a disagreement, take it to the courts. Don't take it to the streets. Now, a document like that cannot magically make politicians peaceful. Let's be realistic. A politician can sign a document today and change his mind tomorrow. So the real question is, what happens after the signature? And this is where the other institutions become important. The courts, the Electoral Commission, the security agencies. If political actors believe those institutions can still give them a fair hearing, then accepting defeat becomes easier. Not easy, but easier. And that is an important distinction. Now, let's bring Nigeria into the picture, because this is where the comparison becomes really interesting. In 2023, Nigeria introduced technology that was supposed to make elections more transparent. We had BVAS and we had IReV. The idea was pretty straightforward. BVAS would help confirm voters, and IReV would allow people to see polling unit results as they were uploaded. On paper, that sounds like a big step forward, and in many ways, that was. But then we ran into a problem, and this is the part I think many people miss. The technology was there, but what did the law actually say about that technology? That is a different question. Think about it this way. Imagine you install a camera in a room because you want everyone to see what is happening. People can watch the camera. They can see what happened. But then the rule says, that's fine, but the official record is still the paper document on the table. Now you have two things. You have what people can see, and you have what the law recognizes as the final record. That was part of the problem with IReV. The public could see the result being uploaded, but legally, the paper result Form EC8A still carried the main weight during collation. So the question becomes, if people can see one thing online, but the law gives greater weight to another document, which one should everybody trust? And that is where technology alone could not solve the problem.
But the social media already is a watch with the fact that the Senate has rejected electronic transmission. That is not true. That is not true. Electronic transmission had always been in our act. And what we did was to retain the electronic transmission, which had been in our act and which was used in 2022.
Now, Nigeria tried to address some of these issues. The 2026 Electoral Act gives IReV formal legal recognition. It also makes electronic transmission of results part of the law. BVAS is also written directly into the law. So clearly, there have been movement. But here is where I think we need to slow down, because the paper Form EC8A is still the main legal document for collation. So we have improved the position of electronic results, but the paper record is still ahead of them legally. And that brings us back to the same question. Which record is supposed to win when the two don't appear to agree? That is the question I think Nigerians should be watching very closely in 2027, because changing the technology is one thing. Changing the rules around that technology is another. Now, let me make this very simple. I don't think the main difference between Ghana and Nigeria is that Ghanaians are more peaceful. And I don't think Nigerians are naturally more troublesome. That explanation is too easy. I think we should look at the incentives. Think about a politician who has just lost an election. The politician has two choices: accept the result or fight it. The important question is, which choice makes more sense to that politician? If the courts are trusted, if the electoral commissioner is trusted, if the process is clear, if there is a peaceful way to challenge the result, then accepting defeat may actually become the smarter political decision. But if the system itself is full of uncertainty, if politicians don't agree on which result is legally final, if each side believes the referee is biased, then challenging the result becomes much more attractive. And that is why I think this conversation is bigger than Ghana. It's really about Nigeria, really.
We must also critically examine the role of the electoral management bodies in consolidating democracy, the role of the security in consolidating democracy, and the role of the judiciary in consolidating democracy in Africa.
So maybe the lesson from Ghana isn't Nigeria should become like Ghana. I don't think it is that simple. The better lesson is this. Look at what makes a politician willing to accept defeat. Because democracy is not really tested when your candidate wins. Everybody is happy when their candidate wins. The real test comes when your candidate loses. Can you trust the process enough to say, okay, we lost. Let's go home and prepare for the next election? That is the real test. And for Nigeria, that is a very important question as we move towards 2027. Because we don't just need better voting machines. We need a system where the rules are clear. We need institutions that both sides can trust. And we need an electoral process where accepting defeat does not look like a political suicide. So, let me leave you with this. When you look at Ghana and Nigeria, what do you think matters more? Is it the Electoral Commission? Is it the courts? Is it the technology? Is it the peace agreements? Or is it simply the fact that over time, politicians learn that they can lose an election today and still have another chance tomorrow? Because maybe that's the bigger lesson. A strong democracy is not one where nobody loses. It is one where people can lose and still trust the system enough to come back and try again. That's the conversation. And that is what I want us to keep looking at here on the Pivot Report. Not just who won, not just who lost, but why the system produces the outcome we see. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.